Alcatraz. For years, the name meant fear, isolation, and a place where the most dangerous men in America were sent. Located on a small island in San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz was more than just a prison. It was a message. No one escapes from here. But on the night of June 11th, 1962, 3 prisoners vanished: Frank Morris, John Anglin, Clarence Anglin. They broke out of the most secure prison in the country and disappeared into the cold, dark waters. Their bodies were never found. Their fate became one of the biggest mysteries in American history. In 2025, everything changed. It started with a routine project. A private engineering company was using sonar to scan the sea floor near the Golden Gate Bridge. The goal was to check for safety risks before building new underwater infrastructure. But during one scan, they found something strange: a large, man-made object buried deep under the bay. At first, it looked like old debris, but its shape was too perfect. It was metallic, rectangular, and not listed in any official records. Divers were sent to investigate. The water was cold and hard to see through. But after several dives, they confirmed the object was a sealed container. Inside were 3 bodies. DNA testing confirmed what many had wondered for over 60 years. The remains belonged to Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, the same 3 men who escaped Alcatraz in 1962. The mystery wasn't just solved, it was rewritten. Alcatraz, also known as the Rock, opened as a federal prison in 1934. It was built to hold prisoners who caused too much trouble at other prisons. Isolated by strong currents and cold water, the island seemed impossible to escape from. Over the 29 years it operated, Alcatraz held more than 1,500 inmates. 14 escape attempts were made. Most were caught or killed. 5 were listed as missing and believed to have drowned. 3 of them were Morris and the Anglins. Frank Morris wasn't an ordinary prisoner. Born in 1926, he lost his parents at age 11. He grew up in foster care, often in trouble with the law. His IQ was recorded at 133, making him smarter than 98% of people. He escaped from other prisons before, and was sent to Alcatraz in 1960 because no other prison could hold him. John and Clarence Anglin were from a poor family in Florida. They robbed banks and had tried to escape prison several times. They were sent to Alcatraz in 1961. At the prison, their cells were next to Morris and another inmate named Alan West. The 4 began planning something no one had ever pulled off. For months, they worked at night, chipping away at the wall behind their sinks. The concrete had been weakened by sea air. Using stolen spoons, saw blades, and even a motor from a vacuum cleaner, they dug small tunnels leading to an unused service corridor. During the day, they covered the holes with cardboard and fake vent grills made from papier-mâché. Morris played the accordion during music hour to hide the sound of digging. Guards never suspected anything. In a secret area above the cell block, they made a raft out of over 50 stolen raincoats. They also made life vests, sealing the seams with heat from prison steam pipes. To blow air into the raft, they turned a small concertina into a hand pump. They even made fake heads using soap, toilet paper, and real hair from the barber shop to trick the guards into thinking they were asleep in their beds. On the night of June 11th, 1962, they made their move. Alan West couldn't escape. His hole was too small. He stayed behind and later told authorities everything. But the other 3 made it out. They crawled through the holes, climbed to the roof, and disappeared into the night. By morning, the guards discovered the dummies in the beds. A huge manhunt began. The Coast Guard searched the bay. Helicopters flew overhead. They found a paddle, a waterproof bag with personal items, and parts of the raft, but no sign of the men. In 1979, the FBI officially closed the case, saying the men must have drowned. But the story didn't die. The Anglin family claimed to receive unsigned Christmas cards. Flowers were delivered to their mother every year with no name attached. A photo taken in Brazil in 1975 seemed to show the brothers alive. In 2013, a letter arrived at a police station in San Francisco. The writer claimed to be John Anglin. He said all three had escaped. Frank had died in 2008, Clarence in 2011, and now John was old and dying of cancer. He offered to surrender in exchange for medical care. The FBI tested the letter. The results were inconclusive. It might have been real, it might not. But it kept the mystery alive. Then, in 2025, science gave a real answer. The object found underwater was lifted out of the bay. It was a steel container, sealed tight. Inside were the remains of the three men. Their clothing matched prison uniforms from the 1960s. One still wore a raincoat life vest. One held a homemade lantern. Another had a piece of paper that read, "We made it, but we can't leave." They also found a rusted metal box with a soap dummy head, a photo of the Anglins as kids, and a notebook. The notebook, believed to be written by Morris, had these words: "We beat them, but we can't risk the surface." This was never the plan. Experts believe the capsule was built inside the prison and secretly moved into the water. It was never meant to stay hidden for long. It was supposed to be a temporary hiding place until the search died down. Their real plan may have been to send the raft into the bay as a distraction, then return to the container to wait. But something went wrong. The capsule had no backup oxygen supply. If help didn't come quickly, there was no way to escape. It's possible they were planning to resurface later, but the current shifted or air ran out too soon. In the end, they were trapped. They had escaped the prison. They had outsmarted the system. But they didn't survive the final stage. The discovery was not made public with fanfare. A simple memo from the U.S. Marshal Service confirmed the identities. Alcatraz prisoners found. No press conference, no statements, just facts. Tourists returned to Alcatraz. New exhibits were added showing photos of the capsule, scans of the bodies, and artifacts found inside. Visitors stood in the same cells, now knowing what really happened. For the Anglin family, it was closure. After decades of hope, they now knew their loved ones hadn't survived long after the escape. Frank Morris had no surviving relatives. But his notebook now sits in the National Archives, studied by historians, engineers, and criminal experts. It's a reminder of how far human determination can go, even inside a prison built to break it. The escape from Alcatraz didn't end in South America or with fake IDs in another country. It ended 1 mile from shore, beneath the waves, in a metal capsule built by the prisoners themselves. They made it out, but they never made it home. Today, the mystery is over, but the story remains. They cracked the rock. But time, the sea, and silence kept their secret for over 60 years. And now, at last, that silence has been broken.